Welcome again to ALFF, AL.com's fantasy football coverage. That's hashtag ALFF. I'm your host, Alex Walsh, joined as always by resident fantasy football expert Nick Birdsong. Nick, so good to see you again.
So good to see you. That fantasy football expert tag sounds better every time.
No doubt about it. So this time we're going to talk about some terms to know. We talked last time about what platform you might want to use, but if you're going to do a team, you want to really win your league, you got to know some stuff.
Definitely.
So let's start talking about yak and what the heck that is.
Well, yak, maybe a little inside baseball terminology, but it's yards after catch. It's definitely important in fantasy. If you look at a guy like Brandon Marshall, who's usually a good yards after catch guy, I think Cordero Patterson this year, maybe giving a little bit away for the next post, but I think Cordero Patterson could be a good yards after catch guy. But those are the kind of receivers, those are the kind of running backs, those are the kind of tight ends that you want to go after because you can definitely gain a lot of points that way.
Yeah, you know, there's a guy like Torrey Smith who will just sort of run downfield for forever, chucking the ball, see if he can get it. But there are athletes like Pierre Garcon, you mentioned Cordero Patterson, who can catch the ball sort of close to the line of scrimmage, get moving, get running, and add those yards on. We should also talk about free agent acquisition budget, which is a mouthful. Fab is much easier to say. So you might hear Fab when talking about your fantasy football league. But you know, when you go week to week, it might be week 3 and this rookie pops up, Mike Evans, all of a sudden, greatest wide receiver we've ever seen. And so how do you get those free agents that nobody drafted onto the right team? Well, you got to know what FAB is. That's your free agent acquisition budget. You set a bid, $5, and each league will have a different amount of money you start with. But it's something to know about, something to do a little bit of Googling on. FAB, free agent acquisition budget. That's how you get your free agents during the middle of the season. Let's close out by talking about one more. This is probably the most important in terms of getting your league going. PPR, what in the world is that?
PPR is points per reception. That's when you get points simply for making a catch. My favorite player for PPR is the guy that I've dubbed the fantasy god, and that is Jamal Charles. It's like God knew that fantasy football would exist, and he crafted Jamal Charles' game for it. He's a great points per reception guy. Also, guys who catch a lot of wide receiver screens, even though they may not get a lot of yards. A PPR guy, a PPR league, you'll get a lot of points that way.
Yeah, I'm going to reach out and talk about Pierre Thomas, who maybe not is the most sexy draft pick, but if you're talking PPR, Pierre Thomas was one of the highest volume catch running backs in the league. So if you're in a PPR league and you get points per catch, you might want to look at Pierre Thomas in your league as well.
Definitely, that's good stuff.
Good deal.